Hey, first and second grade, Mr. Michael here. I'm sorry I can't be there in the classroom with you, but we're going to forge ahead and try to do this here with me at home and you there at school, and let's see what we can do, all right? So remember the last time that we met, we were learning about aliens, but not just like any aliens, not just drawing a cool looking alien to be cool. Remember they had to have that word adaptations, things on them that help them survive in the environment that you decided that they lived in. All right. So, for example, we learned that like a fish is perfectly designed to live in the water because of its shape and its tail, and it has the gills so it can get oxygen out of the water. But if we took that fish and pulled it out of the water, and laid it on the ground, it's not designed to live on the ground, right? Exactly. It's perfectly designed to live in water. And remember the camel. We looked at the camel, how it's specially designed after thousands of years to live comfortably in the deserts. Remember how we said it's hard for us to kind of run through the sand or walk through the sand because our feet are kind of long and skinny, all right? We tend to like dig into the sand when we run, so that's why it makes it harder. But the camel had like the wide feet, all right, that kind of sit on top of the sand when it walks, which makes it 100 times easier to walk across the sand. All right, that's an adaptation it has. And of course, the famous hump, which keeps extra water in its body because water is a hard thing to find in the desert, something that's adapted to help it survive in the desert. All right. And remember how I said these aliens that we make, that's how they gotta look. They gotta have adaptations on them to help them survive wherever you decided they live. Okay? So, I'm gonna show you here today in just a second how I want you to start making these. I would love it if we could try to get these done today, but let's not rush either. All right? If we need to save them, I'll show you how we can save the stuff and we can work on them when we meet again on Tuesday. All right? So, let's go to the artboard. All right, my friends. So now here's how we're going to start making our final aliens. What we'll do first is Mrs. K will have like a piece of white paper like this ready for you, just blank, okay? And then what I want you to do is just quickly sketch out your alien, all right? Remember, adaptations. What does it have on it to help it survive? Not just cool spikes on it to make it look cool, not just wings because they're awesome, all right? If it's a fish, it doesn't need wings, okay? Because it doesn't need to fly. What does it need to help it survive? Okay? So remember the other day when I did that kind of like fishy looking creature? All right? I changed it up a little bit. He's still got that kind of fishy looking appearance to him. Okay? But I've changed it up a little bit. Instead of kind of being one shape, he's kind of like almost like 3 or 4 pieces put together. Right? He's still got that long shape. There's that fishy tail to help him through the water. He's got the big eyes, remember, because he lives down way, way down deep where there's hardly any light. So he needs those big eyes to help him pull in more light to see better. Also, remember, I told you he eats stuff like clams and mussels and shellfish, stuff with really hard shells that just normal teeth aren't going to work. He's going to need like a beak to crack those things open and eat them. All right, so he's got a beak. And then remember also, I told you how things are trying to eat him too at the same time. So over the years, he's developed these cool spikes across the top of his body and across the bottom to help give whatever's trying to eat him and make it think twice before it takes a bite out of him because it might hurt a little bit. Okay. So now, just do your sketch real quick. Whatever it is, remember it can live where it's really super cold. It can live in the desert. It can live in the ocean. It can live in the rainforest. It can live in the air. It can even live in outer space or something. Okay. But just what kind of things are it's going to have to help it live in in those environments. Okay, sketch it out quick. Don't take long on it. Just enough to give you an idea of what you're going to do. Okay, and if it's an idea from what you did the other day, that's great. But if it's something brand new, that's awesome too. Okay. Now that I'm done with that, I'm going to set it off to the side. Mrs. K is going to have a whole bunch of colors of construction paper for you. All right. So like the basic colors, we'll have like orange and blue, red and green, purple, yellow, maybe some black, brown, maybe some white. All right. We'll see what Mrs. K cuts up for us. But then, what I want you to do then is to take those pieces, All right. I'm sorry. Take those colors. All right. And then what you're going to do is you are simply going to, I'm going to dump out my little pieces here. There we go. What you're going to do is you're going to take those colors and let's say, for example, you're like, hold on, let me grab a piece of paper here. You're like, all right, Mr. Michael, I'm going to use yellow to make the body parts. So you're going to, you can draw if you want a part on there and cut it out. Or if you're like me, you don't need to do that. And I can just cut the pieces out. All right. So there's like one part of my fish creature. There's the other part. I'm going to make one more for like his tail. All right. But now, don't do it all just with one color like I'm doing so far. Now I'm going to switch up. I'm going to use some colors for other things too. Okay? But I'm cutting the pieces out. I'm not just drawing the whole thing on one color and cutting it out and saying I'm done. No. We're putting lots of different colors together to make this work. Okay? And I wouldn't glue this together first. I would kind of just put the things on a piece of paper, like pick a color of paper, put them on there. Don't glue them till you're absolutely sure that's the way you want it to look. Okay? So for example here, let me show you here one more time again. Now I've cut out, I've kind of done this before, so I have some pieces I cut out. So there's like one part of my body. There's the other part. All right. I'm going to switch those around, in fact. I kind of like the bigger one there. Smaller one there. Here's the tail. I'm going to put the fin on it. So kind of like that. Okay. Here's his two big eyes that I cut out. I'm going to glue those up here. I'm going to tuck one behind that to make it look a little more three-dimensional, a little real. All right. There's his beak. I'm going to tuck that in behind one of the eyes. All right. Then I'm going to connect the body parts. So I made like these little blue things, like little connectors. Almost like an insect, except he's a fish. Or fish-like. I don't know. He's from a different planet. All right. I'm going to glue. Then I'm going to put that together like that. So far, I'm liking the way it looks. Okay. There we go so far. And now I just got to do the spikes. And remember, he had like spikes that ran across the top of his body. He had spikes that ran across the bottom. So I'll put those there. And then maybe like I'll put these ones down here. And remember, right now I'm just looking to make sure this is the way I want it to look when I'm done. So maybe I'll put a spike there. And a spike there. Couple of spikes down here. All right. Couple over here. All right, and if I like the way it looks, okay, now what I'll do, and I like the way that looks, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of tear apart again, but then what I'll do is I will use my glue stick and I'll start gluing the parts down onto my orange paper. Remember, you do not have to use orange paper, okay? And remember, you're going to look at that too and you're going to be like, oh, Mr. Michael, that doesn't look quite the same. But you know, it looks pretty close, right? Okay? And again, like I said, it's probably going to take you a little while between the sketch, getting things cut out. So do not worry if you do not get anything cut today. Okay? What I will have you do is, I'm sorry, let me say that again. It's not going to be a big deal if you get it glued together today. I would love it if you could get most of your pieces cut out, or even if you get a few glued together. That's awesome, okay? But let's not rush. Take our time, okay? When you are done, if you're not quite done at the end of the day, here's what I'll have Mrs. K do. She'll get you a piece of paper, and what I'll need you to do is to take those pieces and set them on the desk there. Take one of those big pieces of paper, fold it in half, so I get like a folder, okay? Write your name on it, And then you're going to take your pieces and you're going to put them in your folder. All right. And don't forget your sketch. Put your sketch in your folder too. That way, in case if you need it for when we come back, you've got it. But there you go. And we can finish it up next time. All right, guys? I'm going to sign off here. And then Mrs. K is going to get me up on the big screen there. I will not be able to interact or talk with you like normal in the classroom, but you should be able to see me, and I can take some questions. It'll be a little different since I can't be there, okay? But I'll try my best to help out as best I can, and Mrs. K is there to help you too. All right? See you in a minute.